Shalewa's world was shattered in an instant. Her parents had always been her pillars of strength, guiding her through life's uncertainties with unwavering love and support. At just 15 years old, she was set to begin her senior secondary school journey, full of dreams and aspirations. But everything came to a halt when a ghastly car accident claimed the lives of her mother and father. The grief was suffocating, a storm that left her orphaned and lost. Her uncle, Mr. Adewale, a businessman living in bustling Lagos, stepped in to provide a semblance of stability. Though he was a man of few words, he assured Shalewa that she would have a home under his roof and the education her parents had envisioned for her. Shalewa's aunt, Mrs. Adewale, was equally supportive, but often preoccupied with work. The couple's eldest child, Tokunbo, a 20-year-old university student, was the only one frequently at home. Moving to Lagos was a whirlwind for Shalewa. The city's energy was unlike anything she had experienced in her hometown. Amid her grief, she clung to her studies, using school as an escape. At home, however, she felt out of place. The house was spacious but lacked warmth, with her uncle and aunt always busy. Tokunbo's presence, though initially comforting, soon became unsettling. At first, Tokunbo was kind, showing her around and helping her adjust to her new environment. But as weeks turned into months, his behavior shifted. He lingered too close during conversations, found excuses to touch her hand, and complimented her appearance in ways that made her uneasy. Shalewa's polite rejections turned into firm refusals, but Tokunbo didn't relent. One fateful evening, while they were alone in the house, Tokunbo offered Shalewa a glass of juice. Unbeknownst to her, he had laced it with a drug. Moments after drinking it, she felt strange, lightheaded, disoriented, and overwhelmed by an unnatural urge. What followed was a betrayal of trust that left Shalewa confused and ashamed. Tokunbo convinced her to keep their encounter secret, exploiting her vulnerability and lack of parental guidance. The days turned into weeks, and Shalewa's life became a facade. On the surface, she was the quiet, diligent girl who had lost her parents. But beneath that veneer, she was trapped in a toxic relationship with Tokunbo. Her attempts to avoid him were futile. He always found a way to corner her. The weight of her secret was crushing, and she longed for someone to confide in. But her uncle and aunt were too absorbed in their work to notice her distress. Shalewa began to change. Her once bright eyes now carried shadows of fear and uncertainty. She avoided her classmates' questions about her family, deflecting with forced smiles. Her academic performance suffered as she struggled to focus. Even the simplest pleasures, like reading her favorite novels, felt like an impossible luxury. One morning, Shalewa woke up feeling nauseous. At first, she dismissed it as a passing illness, but the symptoms persisted. When her period was late, panic set in. After sneaking out to buy a pregnancy test, her worst fear was confirmed. She was pregnant. The news hit her like a tidal wave, and she had no idea how to navigate the situation. Summoning her courage, Shalewa confronted Tokunbo. To her surprise, he was calm, even dismissive. "It's fine," he said, brushing off her tears. "We'll keep the baby. No one has to know." But Shalewa wasn't comforted. She felt trapped, carrying the weight of a future she hadn't chosen. Unbeknownst to Shalewa, Tokunbo had no intention of letting the pregnancy continue. The idea of fatherhood threatened his carefree lifestyle, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. One evening, he offered her another drink, this time laced with pills meant to terminate the pregnancy. Trusting him despite her instincts, Shalewa drank it. The aftermath was devastating. Shalewa's body reacted violently to the drugs. She experienced excruciating pain and began to bleed heavily. By the time she was rushed to the hospital, it was too late. The doctors tried to save her, but the damage was irreparable. Shalewa and her unborn child were gone. The news shattered the Adewale family. Mr. and Mrs. Adewale were consumed by guilt, realizing too late how their absence had contributed to the tragedy. Tokunbo's initial attempt to feign ignorance crumbled under the weight of evidence. The toxicology report revealed the drugs in Shalewa's system, and witnesses at the pharmacy confirmed Tokunbo's purchase of the pills. He was arrested and charged with murder. The trial was a media spectacle, exposing the cracks in a family that had seemed perfect from the outside. Shalewa's story became a cautionary tale, sparking debates about parental neglect, teenage vulnerability, and the responsibilities of caregivers. In the courtroom, Mr. and Mrs. Adewale could barely look at Tokunbo. Their grief was compounded by the knowledge that their son's actions had destroyed an innocent life. Tokunbo's once bright future was now overshadowed by his crime, and he was sentenced to prison. Shalewa's death left a void that could never be filled. Her classmates organized a memorial at school, sharing stories about her kindness and resilience. Her uncle and aunt established a foundation in her name, dedicated to supporting orphan children and raising awareness about abuse. Though Shalewa's life was tragically short, her story became a powerful reminder of the importance of vigilance, compassion, and the need to listen to those who are often unheard.